People often say time heals everything. Okay, but how does that actually work? How can the mere ticking of a clock possibly mend what's broken? How can flipping a page on the calendar make any of the pain go away? Healing always seemed like an active process to me, something you had to work towards, something that requires effort. If we are hurting, we should try to fix it. If we are lost, we should seek answers. But what happens when we don't have the energy to fight? What if we don't do anything at all? Can time really heal us then? Little Forest made me see healing differently. There's nothing dramatic happening in our protagonist's life. She doesn't seek out grand experiences or forces herself to move on. Instead, she simply lives. She cooks, she farms, she eats, and watches the seasons pass. And by the end of it all, we find her healed. Not because she fought for it, but because time, in its quiet and persistent way, did its work. Healing, as Little Forest shows us, isn't about sudden revelations. It's about the slow, unnoticed shifts that happen in the background of our lives. The way our wounds gaps over without us realizing, the way sadness stills over time, the way seasons change, whether we're ready for them or not. Through the rhythm of nature, the cycle of farming, the act of making food, and the stillness of passing time, Little Forest reveals a truth we rarely acknowledge, that healing happens when we stop chasing it. It happens in the mundane, in the chores we do, in the meals we make, in the simple fact that we continue living. And it all begins in the quiet desolation of winter. Winter is harsh, cold, and isolating. Snow blankets the fields, the earth is frozen solid, and the wind howls through the empty landscape. Nothing grows, and there is nothing to do but endure it. Winter is the season of waiting. Avon, our protagonist, arrives in a rural hometown in the dead of winter. But she's not here by choice. She has escaped the city, exhausted and lost. She came looking for warmth, but all she finds is emptiness. Her house is cold, the fire barely flickers, and the weight of her loneliness settles in like the snow outside. Winter mirrors her pain. It is silent but heavy. It does not comfort her or give her answers. It simply exists, just like she does. And yet, even in the deepest part of winter, time is still moving. Beneath the frozen earth, something is shifting. Even if she cannot feel it yet, change is already beginning. Spring doesn't arrive suddenly. It creeps in slowly, almost unnoticed. The snow melts, the rivers start to move again, and tiny green shoots push through the soil. The world is waking up, and so is Avon. At first, she doesn't realize she's changing. She plants seeds simply because it is time to plant them. But as she presses them into the soil with care and hope, it reminds us of the importance of being patient. Crops don't grow overnight. They take their time, just like people do. She begins to cook with more care, experimenting with fresh ingredients. Her hands move with more certainty, as if they remember something she has forgotten. Spring is all about new beginnings, but not in an obvious way. It doesn't erase winter, it grows from it. I guess healing works the same way. It does not mean forgetting the pain, but learning to exist alongside it. As Avon tends to her garden, she's unknowingly tending to herself. Each small act, digging, planting, watering, reminds her that life continues, that even after the longest winter, things will grow again. Summer is full of life. The fields are green, the sun is high, and everything hums with quiet energy. Summer is the season of work. Long, steady days of tending crops, gathering food, and cooking elaborate meals. Yvonne falls into a routine. She wakes up early, feeds herself, moves through the day with purpose. She's not actively thinking about healing anymore. She's simply doing what needs to be done. There's a kind of comfort in routine, the way her hands know how to knead dough without thinking, the way chopping vegetables creates a familiar sound, a rhythm she can rely on. In summer, everything feels full, alive, green, almost heavy with growth. And yet, even in all that abundance, there's so much uncertainty. And I guess that's why the part where Yvonne talks about growing tomatoes really stayed with me. She says they're tricky to grow, how they'll sprout easily if you just throw them on the ground, but they can also die just as easily if it rains too much. Her mother once told her how tomatoes need the right balance, enough sun, not too much rain, and even then, things might not go the way you hope. And I don't know, the realization is just painfully beautiful. Because it's not just about tomatoes, right? It's about life. About how you can try your best, give something all the care you have, and still not be able to control the outcome. Watching Yvonne slowly realize that, I felt it too. The silent truth that growth can't be forced. Sometimes all we can do is nurture what we can and wait. Autumn is the season of transition. The heat softens, the colors shift, and the fields are ready for harvest. It is a time of gathering and preparing, but also of releasing. Autumn is when things begin to fall away. Leaves, warmth, and sometimes old beliefs. It is in this season that Yvonne begins to truly confront the heavy resentment she has carried towards her mother. For so long, she believed she had been abandoned, that her mother left her because she didn't care. But as the days grow colder and the trees shed what they no longer need, Yvonne starts to see things with a fresh perspective. Living alone in the same house, preparing meals with the same recipes, facing the same silence her mother must have faced, it all begins to shift something in her. Gradually, she realizes her mother wasn't just the mother who left, but a person who had her own struggles, her own breaking points. She begins to understand that leaving wasn't cruelty. It was a decision made by someone who needed space to breathe, maybe even to survive. Yvonne finally stops seeing her mother through the lens of blame and tries to put herself in her mother's shoes for once. Autumn in its own way teaches her that some things have to fall apart for us to truly see what they were made of, because letting go of resentment is the first step towards healing. As Yvonne comes to the realization, she starts to let go, not in a forced way, but naturally, the way trees shed their leaves. She lets go of resentment, of the idea that she has to have everything figured out. She allows herself to exist without needing answers. She accepts that her mother leaving her was just a part of life's unpredictable rhythm. She doesn't see her time in the village as an escape anymore. It has become something else, something real, something meaningful. She has stopped waiting for a grand resolution. She has already changed. Winter returns, but this time it does not feel like an ending. The landscape is still barren, the trees still strip bare, and the cold still lingers in the air. But something is different. Yvonne is different. She wakes up in the same house, walks through the same snow-covered fields, but the weight she carried last winter is no longer there. The silence of winter does not feel lonely anymore. It feels peaceful. The stillness, which once mirrored her pain, now reflects something else. Acceptance. She steps outside, watching the snow drift down gently from the sky. The world is quiet, as it was last winter, but instead of feeling lost in the emptiness, she feels grounded in it. She has spent the past year moving with the seasons, planting and harvesting, cooking and eating, waking and sleeping. Without realizing it, those small mundane actions have shaped her, healed her. Winter is no longer a season of waiting. It is a season of rest. The earth is still, but she knows now that beneath the surface, life is preparing to bloom again. As I said in the beginning, when people used to tell me that time heals everything, I never understood what that meant. It sounded too passive, too abstract. How could time alone fix anything? But now, I see that healing isn't about time itself. It's about what time allows. Time doesn't erase pain, but it gives us space to live alongside it until it no longer defines us. It gives us mornings where we wake up feeling a little lighter, meals that slowly become enjoyable again. One day, without even realizing it, we wake up and feel different. The same world that once felt unbearable now feels soft again. The same everyday tasks that once felt exhausting now bring comfort. Maybe that's what time heals everything really means. Not that time will take away all the pain, but that it will carry us forward gently until the weight isn't as heavy as it once was. If you're hurting right now, if you're stuck in your own frozen winter, feeling like nothing will ever change, like spring will never arrive, I hope this video brings you a bit of comfort. I truly hope this reminds you that you don't have to do anything extraordinary to heal. You don't have to push yourself so hard, and you don't have to have all the answers. You just have to wake up, take a long shower, cook yourself a warm meal, and maybe read some Harry Potter. Call a friend and talk about nothing, or perhaps a walk outside with the earphones plugged in. Just small things like that. You might not think they help, but trust me, they do. And just like that, one morning, you'll wake up feeling lighter, warmer, and happier. Like the first golden rays of dawn melting away the night. Like a gentle breeze carrying away the last remnants of a storm. The weight you carried for so long would have fallen like the autumn leaves, and in its place, new roots of peace will quietly take hold. And that's when you'll know you've healed.